Nigeria and Brazil deepen ties with partnership in healthcare manufacturing.
The relationship between the two governments would enable those trade relations to accelerate.
FG sets minimum admission age for tertiary institutions at 16 as JAMB sets cut-off marks. Plus, get ready for flash floods this July. NIMET alerts 16 states. Hello and welcome to the Network News. I am Olajide Bello. Joining me from Lagos is Adola and our businessman Benny Adams will keep us up to speed in the world of business. Benny, what's trending at the moment?
Well, it is cheering news that Nigeria's Bonilite crude is selling above the global benchmarks, as well as Nigeria equities market is doing well with investors smiling home with billions of naira. That is where the money is. Follow the money with us.
Yeah, Benny, I think I need to start taking my capital market classes seriously now. What do you think?
True.
And of course, Bade Adola is standing by with sports update. Bade, what's the latest?
Well, Olajide, the first finalist of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup will emerge in about 40 as Chelsea take on Fluminense.
Many thanks, Bade. Remember, you can watch these news broadcasts on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. And let's start from the sidelines of the 2025 BRICS Summit. Nigeria and Brazil have formalized a new partnership aimed at strengthening healthcare collaboration with a long-term focus on local manufacturing of pharmaceuticals, vaccines, and other essential medical commodities. The Nigerian Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, and his Brazilian counterpart, Alexandre Padel, signed a memorandum of understanding on structured mechanism for the partnership on the sidelines of the 2025 BRICS Summit of Heads of State and Governments in Rio de Janeiro.
And that MOU commits us to work together along those dimensions, including exploring government-to-government arrangements to secure commodities like vaccines, which Brazil is able to produce and has been producing for decades, that are safe, that are efficacious, that are well-regulated, with a view to transferring those technologies over time for the manufacturing to take place in Nigeria. Certain pharmaceuticals for HIV, TB, and other drugs that we use, there is a private company in Brazil that is already in discussions through its partner to establish a manufacturing plant in Nigeria. Now, the relationship between the two governments would enable those trade relations to accelerate.
Professor Ali Pate explained that the partnership, which has been in process between private partners from the two countries for some time, got new momentum, with Brazil now showing more seriousness to Nigeria as a result of the respect President Tinubu's administration has been able to earn from the Brazilian government.
And the fact that we're willing to consider buying before they come to manufacture, in fact, gives them an incentive, because over time we want to exit from having to depend on bringing all that we need. We want to domesticate our manufacturing capacity, to create economic value, to produce the drugs that we need and commodities that we need, at the same time to create jobs for our youth and to have transfer of technology so that our country will also be in the path to developing its own technologies, which will serve our population in Nigeria, our neighbors in West Africa, potentially in Africa. And who knows, there may be things that we can produce which Nigeria may buy from us as well. That is the idea of trading between countries. But we also have to learn from each other because Brazil and us have shared heritage, shared size, structure, and there are many areas where we can learn from Brazil, and Brazil can also learn from us.
And back home, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has issued a flash flood risk alert across major cities in the country. The agency, in a statement, identifies 16 states likely to experience flooding due to the start of the rainy season. These states include Sokoto, Kaduna, Zamfara, Yobe, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Jigawa, Adamawa, Taraba, Niger, Nasarawa, Benue, Ogun, Ondo, Lagos, Delta, Edo, Cross River, Rivers and Akwa Ibom states. NIMET urged them to relocate if needed, clearing drainage systems, preparing emergency kits, shutting off electricity and gas during floods, and reinforce measures to prevent mudslides. The Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation says the Cameroonian authorities have not released water from the Lagdo Dam, contrary to the rumors circulating in the media. In a statement, the Permanent Secretary, Richard Filangwa, said the Minister, Professor Joseph Youssef, had directed communication with the Lagdo Dam manager, Ahmed Bivong, who confirmed that the dam is currently at a low level of 2.06 meters and no water has been released. The ministry is currently maintaining constant communication with Cameroonian authorities and assures the public that any official release of water will be promptly communicated. The minister urged the public to disregard false reports and remain calm while continuing to observe flood safety and preparedness measures earlier issued. Professor Youssef also advised communities receiving early warning signals, particularly in Lokoja, Kogi State, Urboke, Dama State and Makadi, Benue states, to maintain early warning signals and consult the NISA flood dashboard for reliable, up-to-date information. Into the education sector, the federal government has set 16 years as the minimum age requirement for the admission into tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa made this known at the opening session of 2025 policy meeting on admissions organized by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports.
The policy meeting is coming after a successful conduct of the 2025 UTME examination across the country. The policy meeting is aimed at ensuring compliance with academic standards and enhancing the quality of education in Nigeria.
It is therefore imperative that this meeting not only set cut-off marks, but also revisit institutional practices and policies that impede fair access, student success, and systematic efficiencies.
And the decision to be taken is one anxious candidates cannot wait to hear. And after many deliberations, the meeting agreed that the national minimum cutoff marks for the 2025 admission exercise is 150 for universities, colleges of nursing 140, while for polytechnics, colleges of agriculture and colleges of education is put at 100.
No institution will be allowed to recommend or admit any candidate who is below the minimum admissible year.
On the part of government, it will continue to uphold integrity and standards in the education system, but emphasize that age limit is mandatory and non-negotiable.
Any institution, along with its head, that admits a candidate below the approved minimum age of 16 without meeting the stipulated nationwide conditions and criteria shall face appropriate sanctions.
The event also featured the presentation of awards to encourage tertiary institutions that have performed creditably in admission exercise. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Now, getting around the challenges that face vulnerable segments of Nigerians places a lot of demand on scarce resources, but adapted innovative solutions through strategic learning makes the journey faster and easier. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, said this at the opening session of Global First Partners Academy in New York, expressing her readiness to learn and build more capacity for the demand of her office. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
A First Lady must on day one show up, be presentable, have a platform, and begin to serve. That is one of the opening statements welcoming First Ladies from around the world who are attending the 3rd Annual Global First Partners Academy in Manhattan, New York. The Academy, organized by Global First Ladies Alliance in collaboration with Columbia University Millman School of Public Health, is an executive leadership training program that sharpens the focus of members and offers extra support.
But our program exists to help speed up the progress to a time when the office of the first spouse or first partner, and we do hope that there are more and more first gentlemen, has infrastructure, clear expectations, support, and respect needed to allow First Ladies to hit the ground running.
Especially when you have this title without entitlement. It's quite tough.
A title without entitlement or adequate resources on one hand and a large population to cater to on the other hand. That is how Nigeria's First Lady, Olubadan Tinubu, who joins other participants at the Academy, captures the demand of her office as she expresses a firm resolve to remain innovative and flexible in her task.
The challenge there is always financial. In a country like that, how do you now come up? But you know, whatever it is, it has its blessing, especially when people trust you and see the work you do and help kept coming, and I love that.
Her special address at the Academy is expected to highlight her transformative interventions for children, women, and the youths in Nigeria. The next few days at the Academy will focus on strengthening the leadership skills of participants, enhance their impact and office efficiency, as well as build a global leadership community among them. From Manhattan in New York, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
And from the National Assembly, the Senate has passed for second reading a bill that seeks to strengthen Nigeria's digital policy architecture. The proposed legislation sponsored by Senator Salisu Afolabi provide exhaustive legal framework for artificial intelligence and digital transactions. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The bill has embedded in it provisions laying the groundwork for the development and regulation of national digital economy and e-governance, thereby enabling deployment of artificial intelligence for research and local capacity building.
Savings from this bill will include about 300 billion naira annually from reduced paperwork, procurement inefficiencies, and manual processing costs that permeate all government offices.
What this bill essentially seeks to do is to give legal teeth and framework for the modus operandi of artificial intelligence.
The bills refer to the Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity to report back within 4 weeks.
Other bills that pass second reading seek the establishment of tertiary and health institutions.
Establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities affected by oil and gas operations and explorations.
This bill has been developed to establish the Federal University of Science, Deba, Gombe State.
The establishment of the Federal University of Arts, Culture, Science, Tourism, Ibaraki, Ondo State shall reduce youth restiveness at the literacy levels.
Senate has approved the 2025 budget of the Nigerian Communications Commission and the Universal Service Provision Fund as recommended by the Senate Committee on Communications.
That the Senate do approve the sum of 272,433,805,000 naira only. Communication Commission's budget.
Meanwhile, Senate has reassured that bills for concurrence from the House of Representatives would continue to receive due consideration.
The principle of chamber reciprocity does not necessarily mean for us garbage in, garbage out. We will continue to consider concurrence bills sent from the House of Representatives the same way they also consider our own.
Let our brothers in the House of Representatives know that we cannot joke with anything that comes from there. It takes two hands to clap.
Two bills from the House passed first reading and two others scaled second reading at Tuesday's plenary. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the National Assembly leadership is urging Nigerians to take advantage of the ongoing constitution review process to entrench inclusive governance through amendments that will guarantee special seats for women and persons with disabilities in Parliament. This was the first at the second annual Open Week of Parliament hosted by the House of Representatives. National Assembly correspondent Nitaire Ikben reports.
The hallowed chambers of the House of Representatives is thrown open to Nigerians from all walks of life who confidently occupy the legislative seats. After all, it is the people's parliament. The presiding officers welcome everyone for several interactive sessions scheduled for the open week to touch on issues that touch Nigerians, especially in the ongoing constitution review.
Under the draft amendment, 10% of seats in both the Senate and the House of Representatives will be set aside for women, apportioned by state to ensure regional balance. These seats will be filled through direct elections on separate ballots. 5% of seats will be reserved for persons with disabilities, with candidates nominated by accredited disability advocacy organizations.
So you are changing Nigeria. You are repositioning Nigeria. You are making it possible for good governance to come, irrespective of who occupies the villa.
The open parliament policy of the National Assembly is applauded as a practice that should be sustained.
At no time in the history of the legislature, especially the House of Representatives, have we had the doors to a chamber thrown open to the public.
I believe you should appreciate your speaker together with his team for them to put this particular opportunity together for you, to re-energize you, to wake you up, that you have a work to do.
More than any other institution of government, the legislature relies on the goodwill of the people to operate effectively.
Keep the torch of the integrity and the mission of this House has been left behind by your predecessors.
The National Assembly's Open Week will focus on policy and legislative issues in agriculture, food security, political inclusion for women and youth, as well as constitutional role for traditional rulers. From the National Assembly, Nitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And you're watching the Network News. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has reaffirmed that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu remains firmly committed to its core mandate, delivering meaningful reforms and real economic growth for the Nigerian people. In a statement, the minister acknowledged the right of all Nigerians to freely exercise their constitutionally guaranteed freedoms of association and of speech, but notes that it is also important to underscore that President Tinubu's administration will not be sidetracked by politicking or political distractions. He said the clamor in the media about the emergence of a new political coalition is understandable, but Nigerians entrusted President Tinubu with a bold and transformative mandate anchored in the renewed hope agenda. He added that in just 2 years, this vision has already begun yielding tangible results across all sectors of the country. The Minister of Regional Development, Olubadan Momo, has called on development partners to intensify support for Nigeria's Northeast region, focusing on infrastructure and human capital development. Fatima Isa reports.
Minister of Regional Development Abubakar Momo was received in Maiduguri by the Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur, who expressed deep appreciation to the federal government for creating the Ministry of Regional Development and commended the Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, for its proactive efforts in addressing the region's developmental challenges.
The Northeast Development Commission stepped in and make a lot of provisions in terms of infrastructures.
As part of the minister's visit, he paid a courtesy call on the Shehu of Borno, Abubakar ibn Umar Garbe Al-Amin El-Kenemi, focusing discussions on the federal government's continuous commitment to the recovery and development of the region. The minister then proceeded to inspect several ongoing projects.
We have seen for ourselves, starting from the network roads, from Gombe to Koshebe to Zabanri to Dosuma to all those network of roads of about 45 kilometers, opening up various communities, not less than 7 major communities that hitherto never had roads.
Momo reaffirmed federal government's commitment to accelerating regional development and urged all stakeholders to collaborate in achieving sustainable peace and progress in the Northeast. In Maiduguri, Fatima Isa, NTA News.
And talking health, Yobe State Governor Mai Mala Buni has reiterated his administration's commitment to delivering accessible and affordable healthcare services to the people. Boni made the commitment after stakeholders' engagement on strengthening primary healthcare system in the state, and also calls for a synergy between council chairmen and traditional rulers to combat drug abuse in their areas. Yunusa Sulaiman reports.
The stakeholders' engagement aimed to discuss ways of improving primary healthcare services in the state, as well as addressing existing challenges. Governor Mai Mala Buni used the forum where he highlighted the state's achievements in healthcare delivery, including the establishment of 142 functional primary healthcare centers, provision of equipment and drugs, and recruitment of over 2,000 qualified healthcare personnel. He also noted that the state's emergence as the 2024 Northeast Zonal Champion for Primary Healthcare Leadership Challenge was a testament to the administration's investment in primary healthcare development.
Funds are being approved for the commencement of the state equity program that will provide health insurance cover to over 38,000 vulnerable women and under 5 children across the state.
While we have made notable strides in strengthening our healthcare system, we recognize that significant challenges persist, including the resurgence of circulating vaccine-derived polioviruses type 2 and 3 and critical shortages of human resource for health.
While expressing concern over the rising menace of drug abuse, the governor directed the 17 local government council chairmen to collaborate with traditional rulers to combat the menace in the state. In the Matru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
And meanwhile, about 3 in every 10 newborns in Gombe State are being exclusively breastfed. Determined to improve on these statistics, a committee has been established by leaders in the state to focus on improving food and nutrition at the community level. Joseph Zanagambo has details.
Gombe State is grappling with a severe malnutrition crisis, particularly among children. Rates of stunting, wasting and underweight remain alarmingly high. Many households, especially in rural areas, struggle to access diverse nutritious food. While the state has launched a 5-year food and nutrition policy backed by a multi-sectoral action plan, experts say more resources and sustained commitment are needed to turn the tide.
That the inauguration of this committee is a continuation of government determination to leave no stone unturned in fighting malnutrition and its unprecedented consequences.
When the rating of malnutrition came out, we are virtually at the foot of the ladder. So we feel it's a big challenge for us to sit up and ensure that we expand the initiative of the federal government to reflect the reality on ground.
The statistics of malnutrition of children below the age of 5 and also issues of nutrition is bad. The inauguration of this committee for local governments is one of the things that the state government feels that once the local government comes in, everything will be solved.
This recent initiative focuses on utilizing locally available food to enhance dietary knowledge and variety within vulnerable populations. In Gombe, Joseph Zanagambo, NTA News.
And away from health, former Vice President of Nigeria, Muhammad Namadi Sambo, has commended Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf for his unwavering commitment to improving the standard of education in Kano State. The commendation came during a visit to the governor at the government house in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
It was a homecoming for Nigeria's former Vice President Muhammad Namadi Sambo. After condoling with the family of late elder statesman Aminu Al-Hassan Dantata, he came to the government house to extend same to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and commend him for his administration's developmental strides. Namadi Sambo particularly praised the governor's declaration of state of emergency in the education sector and the significant budgetary allocation directed towards its improvement. He also lauded the massive infrastructural development projects across the state, describing them as critical to driving economic growth.
So, what you have done is extremely impressive, and please keep that going.
You too have contributed immensely toward the development of our state and even Nigeria when you were the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf expressed gratitude for the visit and kind words, stating that the encouragement serves as further motivation to intensify efforts in delivering good governance. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Now let's join Adola from the Center of Excellence for Stories making the rounds from that zone. Good evening, Adola. Take it up from here.
National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Education has shown undeniable commitment to tackling Nigeria's pressing issue of 20 to 30 million out-of-school children by working with government organizations and relevant stakeholders on decentralized operations, advocacy and stakeholder engagement. This is to ensure the success and future of every child nationwide. Adejoke Odeka, who witnessed the flag-off, now reports.
The basic education sector that has to do with
To provide an inclusive multimodal education system for every child in Nigeria, the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children Education established an Act of Parliament on the 27th of May 2023 under the supervision of the Ministry of Education and in line with the Renewed Hope Agenda, which aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, has flagged off the Lagos State advocacy with the theme Revitalization of the Out-of-School Children's Initiative.
This advocacy exercise is going to be an unprecedented one, where our team will be going from ward to ward, meeting parents, stakeholders, and talking to them of the need to take their children back to school.
Bringing together various stakeholders, organizers and members of this initiative assert their commitment to tackling the critical crisis of out-of-school children in Nigeria.
This initiative is all about us visiting 245 wards in Lagos across the 3 senatorial districts and listen to people.
The issue concerning out-of-school children is something we all have to take seriously. Is a country-wide menace that needs to be urgently approached.
The way our president brings this initiative is very lovely.
And to show further commitment to the initiative, the leadership of the commission inaugurated a learning center in the riverine community of Makoko, Lagos. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
And moving now to assembly matters, as the country continues to grapple with congestion in correctional centers, the Lagos State House of Assembly is deliberating on a bill to establish a modern correctional center which will provide for administration of custodial and non-custodial sentences across the state. Musa Toliat reports that the private matter bill sponsored by the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, has scaled second reading on the floor of the Assembly in Lagos.
The fifth alteration, number 15, Act 2023,
renamed prisons as correctional services and moved it from the exclusive list to the concurrent list, thereby allowing both federal and state governments to legislate on correctional facilities. An impending bill for a law to establish the Lagos State Correctional Service therefore sets the tone for contributions from lawmakers on the private member bill. Chairman, Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Public Petitions and LASIEC, Honorable Oladipo Ajemale, gave an insight into the bill.
Main objectives of this bill, Mr. Speaker, I have some summary points that I would like to take out here. That is to promote a safe, just society through offender custody and supervision. Another thing is to focus on rehabilitation, which is key.
Some lawmakers believe a state-run correctional facility will set standard on physical and mental well-being of inmates.
Correctional officers should be banned from bringing out drugs.
The bill also presented a platform for legislators to renew the call for state police and the need for an enhanced criminal justice system in the state.
This bill will be very perfect if the federal government can complement us in the area of state police, which we're supposed to continue to hammer.
It is not all about taking people to the prison. It is all about enforcing the law.
Speaker Mudashiru Obasa submits that the bill is capable of ensuring a safer society for Lagos residents.
For us to create a viable economic environment, it is necessary to have a law of this nature.
He thereafter committed the bill to House Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Public Petitions and LASIEC. They are to report back to the House of Assembly in 3 weeks. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos. The network news will continue after the break with the business segment. To stay with us.
Good to know you here, and it's that time we talk business. I will start by telling you that as delegates depart Rio after the 17th BRICS Summit, they are going home taking with them the Rio de Janeiro Declaration, a comprehensive document outlining 126 commitments across various strategic areas. For Nigeria, being a partner country, observers say tariffs or no tariffs, deepening international cooperation in economics, trade and finance is what Nigeria should be doing at this time.
When such sanctions come, they are not going to be standing alone. You know, when sanctions come from the West, it looks like the entire world will just sanction the same country. But the existence of BRICS and their partners means that if such sanctions come, they are going to be standing by their members.
Now, looking at the energy market, Trump's tariffs have raised uncertainty across the market and concerns that they could have a negative effect on the global economy and oil demand. But for Nigeria's Bonny Light crude, Bonny Light is selling above its peers in the global market. As of today, the Bonny Light is selling at $78.62. compared to the $69.88 of the Brent crude, though the Brent crude saw an increase of 30 cents, and compared to the West Texas Intermediate crude, which is selling at this time at $68.05, so a rise of 12 cents, talking about 0.18%. And from the energy market, we'll look at Nigerian equities. This Tuesday, the equities market maintained a bullish momentum, adding 226.25 billion naira to investors' wealth, with market capitalization closing at 76.76 trillion naira. Today's data shows 22% improvement in volume, 29% improvement in turnover, and 3% improvement in deals. And on the aggregate, 126 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 57 gainers and 21 losers. On the losers chart, we can see Deep Capital Investment lost 1 naira 17 kobo. E-Transact was just about 9 naira 0 kobo, and talking on Northern Nigeria Flour Mill lost 98 naira 10 kobo. On the top trades at this point, we see Access Co having traded 124.2 million volume of shares, traded at 2.7 billion. Jopol came second with 123 million, traded at 340 million, and M-Benefit is 55.5 million, trading at 77.7 million naira. This is it on business at this time. Do keep a date with us for a fresh edition tomorrow.
Many thanks, Benny. And now let's talk some security matters. The armed forces have established a joint doctrine and warfare center in a move to strengthen Nigeria's security architecture. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the center is designed to harmonize military strategy, enhance inter-service collaboration, and improve combat readiness, particularly in the ongoing fight against terrorism and insurgency. National Security Advisor Nuri Badu performed at the ceremony in Abuja.
The Joint Doctrine and Welfare Center will serve as a nerve base for developing, coordinating and integrating joint doctrines and operational concepts for the military. It is expected to foster synergy among the Army, Navy, Air Force and allied forces involved in multinational counter-terrorism operations in the Lake Chad Basin region.
As we embark on this new chapter, I urge everyone to embrace the spirit of innovation, teamwork, and common learning. More importantly, I encourage these services to embark on the idea and concept of practicing jointness.
The center also houses facilities for joint training and simulation exercise, which are critical to ensuring that various arms of the military operate with shared understanding and strategic cohesion. Experts describe the center as a transformative step towards professionalizing Nigeria's defense operations.
This center will now give us that yardstick for us to synergize, to get our strategy as the Nigerian Armed Forces doctrine for all the armed forces, so that when we go out, everybody knows the role he's going to play, everybody knows what to do, and we don't leave anybody in doubt.
As security threats evolve, the success of this initiative could mark a new chapter in national and regional stability. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Air Force has inaugurated a Civilian Harm Mitigation and Response CHMR board to lead the implementation of its Civilian Harm Mitigation Action Plan, CHMR-AP. The strategic initiative reflects the NAV's growing commitment to upholding international humanitarian law and embedding accountability in air operations. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame, indicates that the Chief of Civil Military Relations, Air Vice Marshal Ibukule Daramola, reaffirmed NAV's unwavering commitment to protecting civilians during operations. He noted that the NAV remains resolute in ensuring its missions are conducted with precision, accountability and humanity. The CHMR board has been tasked with driving the execution of CHMR-AP across the full spectrum of NAV's organizational structure, including joint operational environment. And following the demise of the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Olakule, on Monday, baales from the 7 Ibadan city local governments have commenced their traditional rites. Kehinde Omolosho reports that the baales were received by the representative of the Olubadan designate Senator Lamidi Ladoja.
By the chairman, Ibadan Council of Baales, Olonde Oluyole, the baales, while commiserating with the family of Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin, highlighted that he will be missed for his exemplary leadership and commitment to the growth and development of Ibadan land. In his response, representative of the Olubadan designate, Oba Amidu Ajibade, implored people of Ibadan to be united and committed to the development of Ibadan land.
We are expecting the best by the grace of God. An enlightened, educated, well-connected Oba.
Our Oba lived a very fulfilled life, both in his private life and public life.
Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
Another break beckons. The news continues shortly. Glad to know you're still there. Over now to Bade Adeleye for sports update. Bade.
Many thanks, Olajide. Let's begin with hockey. And of course, the president of the Nigeria Hockey Federation, Simon Nkom, has expressed optimism about the future of hockey in Nigeria, highlighting steady growth and remarkable strides made over the past 4 years. In a media chat in Abuja, Nkom noted that despite the lack of sponsorship, hockey has emerged as one of Nigeria's top 10 sports thanks to strategic development efforts and strong board support. He added that preparations are in top gear for the 2025 league season, starting in August with an increase in participating clubs, reflecting rising interest and confidence in the federation. Flying Eagles have commenced training sessions in the Ghanaian capital of Accra ahead of the kickoff of this year's WAFU tournament. Captain Daniel Bameye and 19 other players made the list of players selected by the head coach Aliyu Zubero from the group that finished third at the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Egypt 2 months ago. Nigeria, winners of the last 2 editions of the WAFU Under-20 Championships, will take on hosts Ghana in the opening match of Group A before taking on Benin Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, and Togo in Group B. All right, let's quickly take you to the United States of America, where we are a few minutes, or let's just put it as seconds away from seeing the first finalist of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. And of course, Chelsea and Fluminense are trading tackles in the first semi-final. New signing Joao Pedro netted a goal each in both halves, and as at the last time we checked, it was 2-0 in favor of the Blues. 5-time winners Real Madrid and debutants Paris Saint-Germain will face off in the other semi-final on Wednesday. Just a bit of tennis now. Cameron Norrie went down in straight sets 6-2, 6-3, 6-3 in his quarterfinal against defending champion Carlos Alcaraz to end British hopes in the 2025 Wimbledon singles. Alcaraz will face American 5th seed Taylor Fritz in the last 4 on Friday as he continues his bid to make it 3 titles in a row at the All England Club and a 6th Grand Slam success in total. That does it on Sports Tonight. Let's now return to Olajide.
Many thanks, Buddy. And the National Assembly Southeast Caucus has described the death of former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Agunwa Nekwe, as a huge loss to the region and the nation in general. Late Agunwa Nekwe served as Speaker of the House of Representatives between December 1992 and November 17, 1993, when Parliament was dissolved by the military administration of General Sani Abacha. 7 lawmakers and associates who visited late Anekwe's widow in his Abuja residence described him as a detribalized Nigerian who contributed to the struggle for the actualization of June 12 mandate. The former speaker was a member of the National Caucus of APC and the party's National Executive Committee. And the owner of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, has offered his heartfelt condolences to the Olubadan Council, the good people of Ibadan land, and the entire Oyo State, particularly Governor Seyi Makinde, on the passing of Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin, the 43rd Olubadan of Ibadan land. In a release by the Director of Media Public Affairs, Otumba Moses Olafare Oba Ogumusi, described late Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin as an exemplary king and a beacon of tradition. And up next is the weather forecast.
Joining us. After the passage of the intense storm system, particularly over the northeastern states, we're finally seeing some relief in that region. Expect a calmer sky and a break from the heavy downpour, at least for now. However, over the western parts of the country, the weather remains a bit more unstable. We are tracking isolated thunderstorms and scattered rain showers, which are likely to affect parts of Zamfara, Sokoto, some parts of Kebbi, Kaduna, Bauchi, and Taraba states. Looking further south and across the central cities, we are anticipating moderate rainfall, not as intense as earlier this week, but enough to keep things cool and damp. So if you're in these areas, keep your umbrellas handy and be mindful of localized flooding. Thank you for joining us.
Well, that's it on the network news. Many thanks for being a part of it. I'm Olajide Bello.